Welcome to Turn-Based Memories. This is a JRPG podcast. For this episode, both I, the legendary Zoltan, and my co-host Mel have played Final Fantasy VII Remake. We both finished it, and we both got opinions. The best opinions! This is a special episode not only because we usually play old games, but also because we recorded the conversation you are about to hear almost 1 year ago. I'm pretty sure I edited it and uploaded it back then too, so I guess I just accidentally deleted it? I just noticed it was gone one day. I didn't know I was capable of that level of inattention when deleting videos, but maybe I am. So here are our thoughts, fresh after we played the game back when it came out. If you remember having listened to this already, roast me all about it in the comments section. Enjoy! Hello everybody, this is the Legend of Zoltan and the co-host Mel. Hey dude.
Hey, hello.
And we are finally here to talk about the game of games, Final Fantasy VII Remake. Oh my god.
The game of games.
Is it not? Maybe it's not, actually.
Whoa. Oof.
So, anyway, I've just introduced the game, and now, different to what we usually do, we're just going to both have our conversation. What we usually do is one of us has played the game and one of us has just played it for the first time. And then the person who had the old experience with the game asks a bunch of questions to the other. But that's not what we're going to do today. We're just going to have kind of a generic podcast format for this one.
I mean, we did do the original game in that fashion.
That's
so
right, we did.
If you want to compare our opinions on this and that, I mean, I'm sure we'll bring up some comparisons here. But if you want to compare the actual episodes, we have the original up as well.
Yep. And get ready for spoilers. If you think you're going to just get the gameplay review, that's not what this is. This is our experiences. It's dramatic
the whole thing.
And personal on a deep level. So we have to talk about everything.
Feelings.
That's right. Prep the feels.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, so I made a list of what we should talk about. So first thing we're going to talk about is the battle system. Is that what we want to talk about first?
Yeah, let's go into the I think that's like kind of the front and center thing. Well, maybe it's not.
Yeah,
it's like
it's hard to
it's
say
up there though.
Yeah, it's one of the big things. So
it's up there.
Okay, I'll start off by saying that of course we all when it was first announced, all the old school guys were like, I hope they keep it turn-based, and they're like, no, it's not turn-based. Like, but in the end, I think the most important thing, you guys may have seen that. If you haven't seen it, go check out. Just go search on this channel for like 2 videos ago or so. I did a huge review of the demo where I go into ultimate detail about how the battle system works.
You really did.
I did my best. And basically, I was just happy to announce that the game is not just a button-mashing game for the filthy casuals, right? Because, Square Enix is trying to get everybody to play Final Fantasy VII Remake, so everybody was worried it's going to be too easy, it's going to be for filthy casuals, it's not going to be Final Fantasy, and all that stuff. But I can tell you, you actually have to work at the battle system, assuming you play it on normal anyway.
Sure.
And what did you think of the battle system, Mel, overall, first?
So, in order, I guess, I mean, I actually did record a segment that we won't be using, but it's good that I did because I was able to get some of my thoughts aired out and sort of lined up in my head. And one of the things that I had mentioned there is that, to me, the battle system in this game was really a roller coaster. There were highs and lows where I thought the game's battle system was really like, I can't wait to get into another battle. I can't wait to feel that kind of badass, kind of smooth. Everything's transitioning, everything's banging on all cylinders. I'm like not only winning, but like dominating the fight, which is in this really cool way. Like it's not like there's no chance of losing. It's just I know exactly what to do and how to do it, and it's working. And then there were a lot of battles where that felt like that was not happening at all. And no matter what I did, I either couldn't understand or it just was not going to happen, that I was going to be able to just get like that kind of commanding grip on the encounter. And that really, there were parts of it where I was like, fuck this game.
It happened to me a few times too.
Yeah, there were a couple encounters, not even like boss fights, like a
Regular
couple like
guys.
kind of random areas where there were just a lot of enemies. I'm just like, I can't fucking do anything. I'm dying like almost immediately.
Oh man.
What the fuck? And I just thought, I kind of for a while was like, I think I'm messing something up. I'm not doing something right, whatever. But I ended up passing through those encounters just by like kind of like sideways muddling my through until the fucking summon popped, and then I blew everything up or whatever.
Yeah.
And I'd walk away from going, that didn't really go the way it was supposed to, did it?
I think, yeah. Basically, the way this game works, it's kind of like FF6 in the way that you just have to find the right strategy, and it's not really dictated by stats all that much, I think. I think having leveled up materia, like healing materia and stuff, maybe could be kind of important. But for the most part, if you do this, and this thing that are the right things, you're going to win, even if you're using weak-ass weapons or something.
Oh yeah, no, your character levels. I never knew what level my characters were. It didn't matter. I never really paid attention to the weapon they were using outside of, am I getting the skill for the weapon? And then later on in the game, I started picking and choosing based on what role I wanted for characters, if they were magic damage dealers or physical damage
That's right.
dealers. But throughout the like actual game, I was using whatever was newest and whatever I was working on. Materia, obviously, way more important, but almost too much so, because unless you wasted, I guess is the wrong word, but unless you made sure everyone had an even array of all elements, you could find yourself in a position where, fuck, this guy's immune, and I have no magic to hurt him with, and all he can be hurt with is magic. And that happened to me. So I was like, I guess I gotta just restart the fight.
Yeah. So I think the best way to talk about this is just to talk about a few boss battles, I think, and then we'll get all the details out. So we talked about Guard Scorpion before, but then the next boss is what's the next thing that happens? You go back home, you do some side quests. We can put that aside for now. And then you go on the next bombing then you got to fight Roche. That's the one. Remember Roche or Roche? The guy on the bike, and after the bike, you have to fight him off the bike.
Bike guy.
Yeah.
Sure. Yeah.
Yeah. Do you remember any of that big, battle in that huge arena? You fight a bunch of soldiers. I gotta say, man, I can't get enough of the battles where they just put millions of guys. That is the funnest stuff in the world to me.
Yeah, when you're blowing up a large amount of dudes, yeah, that is fun.
The way to do that one is freaking triple strike, yo. Next guy. Boom. It's kind of crazy how much freaking power they put into the abilities versus your regular attack.
Oh, yeah.
You can do a full combo with your Punisher mode on a guy, and it'll like maybe do half their life. Or you can do a triple strike, and it'll kill each guy, 3 guys in one hit each instantly. I'm like, what? It's that strong?
Yeah, they want. Yep. No, that's very accurate.
So yeah, but then you have to fight a bunch of dogs and
machines, those mechs.
Yeah, a couple of those sweepers. So you fight 2 of those sweepers at the same time, which on hard mode they were really, really hard and killing me over and over again. But on normal mode, I don't know. I mean, I kind of felt like you just end up eating a bunch of attacks, so you can just keep attacking. Is that what I was supposed to do?
That is the perennial question with this game. I got through a lot of encounters thinking, was that what I was supposed to do? Is this how this fight was supposed to go? I feel like I did the thing, but I only staggered him like once or twice, and it took a while. Like that mentality crept in on more than enough encounters and just fights in this game for it to be like an impression that I got with the battle system. outside of all the other highs where it's like, I feel great and I can't wait for this cutscene to be over
So I
to
can
get back
fight
to another fight.
guys.
Yeah. And then other parts where it's just like, fuck. Like,
I think I think that's where hard mode is going to come in, because I've done like the first 4 chapters now, and I think that's where you basically just learn, like, this is how you have to fight the battle, yo, basically. Because yeah, the first time I played that battle with the 2 sweepers in that big warehouse area in chapter 4, freaking Wedge is like, I'm going to put these mines on the ground, so lead them toward the mines, but
right.
I wasn't doing a good job of doing that, because those mines seem to have a time limit or something, because they disappear after a while, I think. And so I wasn't doing a good job getting them. But if they touch the mine, they get staggered a lot. If they touch 2 of them, their stagger gauge is maxed, and you can start wailing on them for free.
Yeah, I have to imagine that this is going to be a game that someone who's like really good at it is going to put like a video series out or just like a speed run, and you're going to look at it and go, oh.
That's what I was supposed to do, huh?
Oh,
Yeah.
I feel stupid.
Yeah, so I think this game, even though it has the assess ability, which lets you see their weakness, and even has a little tactical section about how you're supposed to kill them,
Yeah.
it still kind of requires a lot of, even with that, it feels like it still requires a lot of player experimentation, because,
It does.
yeah, like it says, the weakness is ice. Okay, but it's not always, if you use whatever they're weak against, they'll die quickly or they'll get staggered quickly. It's not always the case. And in some enemies, they're like weak against ice. You throw the ice at them, but then it just becomes an icicle on the ground, and you have to wait 2 seconds for it to explode. And in that time, they escape from they move around and they don't get hit by it.
Fucked off and they didn't get hit by it. Yeah. Okay. We're stumbling into another area of this game that was maybe a bit of a low, where things would
also.
just like, things would just like whiff for the dumbest reasons, or you would get interrupted just like constantly from whatever, because there's a wind up on everything you do. So
Not everything.
almost everything, almost nothing you do is instant.
I guess so. Triple slash is basically instant, but yeah, you're right.
There are some attacks that do ignore stagger, whatever you want to call it, like getting hit stun. Like Barrett has a couple moves that you can reliably just like tank through.
Oh, for real?
But not until way later. Like some of his melee attacks that you get with the claw arm and whatever, he'll just like keep going. He'll take all the damage, but he won't get like stunned out of it.
Yeah.
But if you're like, oh, I'm gonna heal. Okay, hang on. Heal, and then in that whole animation, if you get like tapped on the shoulder, your MP is gone and the heal didn't go off.
Yeah.
And the fucking
ATB
gauge went down.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you're done. Just not. And you probably really needed that heal, huh? Well, too bad.
Yep. Yeah. So basically, I eventually came to the point where, like, okay, I need to heal. Don't heal yet. Wait till he does something and then heal.
Basically that's
waiting
true.
for the enemy after.
Yeah, you gotta wait for them to stop fucking doing something and then like run away or whatever. Like I don't know. I think at my worst point feelings about this game, it was like, this feels like bad Dark Souls, where I can't read the pattern of the enemy because they're just constantly doing shit, and my characters aren't agile or mobile enough to like not get hit, and I have to not get hit because I have to fucking get whatever this thing is off. But if you play it that way, you are kind of missing the intention where you really are supposed to use the right tool for the right job, like you were saying.
Yeah. I did find that it is possible to, avoid things more if I don't know, like I did spend a few battles that I were finding hard, just like running around as far away from as I could from the enemy to just see what all they're going to do and see which ones I could just run away from and dodge roll away from. I was kind of annoyed that, I don't know, for the most part, I guess if every attack has the name on the screen. So I kind of
If you
feel
can see it,
is it. I don't know if there's ever a time you couldn't see it. If even if
it
it's
only
off
appears
screen.
above their head. So if your camera is not in their direction, you're not going to know what they're doing. It
I
doesn't
thought
show it like in the middle of the screen. It's above their head in like tiny text.
it is, but I thought that if they were off screen, it just showed it like on the top right corner of the screen or something. Like in,
You might be right. You might be right.
I can't
There's a
remember for
lot
sure.
going on.
There is a lot going on for sure, but I don't know. Yeah, overall, I felt like I think if I had just taken forever to learn all the attacks of the enemy and then how to avoid all of them, then yeah, maybe I could become this this god where I never hardly get hit and stuff. But
Hmm.
man, I kind of feel like that's taken the long way to learn this game, and there are some moves where it's just really where it's like not at all what I thought it was to get out to not get hit by it. Like maybe some of them are just not unavoidable. So like some of you got definitely have to just block like bullets and stuff. But then
Yeah.
like one that really annoys the hell out of me. I can't remember who did it. Maybe it was the Scarred Scorpion, but it creates like there's a couple enemies that do this, but it creates like a lightning force field kind of around it, and
Pushes you away.
it's going to push you away when it hits you, and you're going to take kind of a lot of damage. But it says the name on the screen, and I'm like, okay, this is the attack that I have to roll away from because I can't block it. It just
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah.
flays you backward. I rolled away from it. I got completely out of the roll, and I still wasn't completely out of the range of the attack. So you
Mm,
have to roll twice, and so that was driving me crazy. That one, whatever. I don't remember if it was Guard Scorpion or a different robot, but that was
yeah.
really annoying me. That it wasn't a single roll to get away from it. But I don't know. I haven't tried that with lots of different enemies and lots of different attacks, so I don't know how prevalent that issue is.
Yeah, I think the issue that caught me in terms of the combat also was the camera because you can lock on, and sometimes you want to lock on, and other times that's the worst thing to do. And if you're not locked on, all right, but are you going to hit the right target?
Maybe
Like your
not.
character, yeah, maybe not. Maybe you really have to, and you're not going to hit the target.
Yeah. So
And it's really like shit's coming at you from all angles because there's sometimes little ads, little monsters that
yeah,
are running around, and you
yeah.
gotta get rid of them, or you don't want to get hit by them or interrupted by them, and you don't want to waste your big fucking fuck off attack on them either. So,
Mm. Yeah.
it's like, and if you target lock on rather. Uh, I thought the biggest problem, which was just like a muscle memory thing, was the target switch is the right stick.
Ah, yes.
And
You
so
can
I
switch that
reflect,
though.
you can, and I never thought to do, and that's my fault. But I would constantly like go reflexively to move the camera because the camera would get in terrible positions when you're on lock on.
Sometimes,
It'd just be
yeah.
like up against the wall in your character's like character model. Like what's going on?
Blocking the whole camera or something. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that is one of the things that drove me crazy that you can lock on, but if you do, you can't move the camera if you do. And so like it doesn't always keep the enemy directly in the center of the screen. Like sometimes they go way off to the side, and the camera won't move until they try to go off of the screen. But if they go all the way to the side, then the guy will still. It sounds like that should be the better way than to just always have it directly in the center because then it feels like the camera might be moving all the freaking time.
I don't
But
care.
maybe it is. I'm not sure. But there's so many times like, okay, I want to move so I can see this way, and then I click it. Like crap, I'm locked onto something else now. You
Yeah.
wanna,
And then good luck getting back to it because now left is a totally different target or whatever,
yeah, maybe.
and it gets a little messy. But I don't know, like it wasn't the worst thing to deal with. I got more or less used to it. But if I'm really going to level a critique against the battle system, it's going to be that it is a little difficult on first playthrough to just like grasp what is occurring in some of the more hectic fights. And everyone says this about the first fight in the game, but really that's nothing compared to like the Hell House fight
Oh my god.
in the Colosseum or some of the other boss fights that come after that. Uh, not the later ones. I found the later boss fights actually less like, what's happening? But in that middle section, when you're in Wall Market, for some reason, there's some real nasty boss fights,
Mm-hmm.
and yeah, just like because in that Hell House fight, he's constantly switching immunities. I'm like, what the hell is he immune to now? I don't even know.
You can push the number pad. No, I'm sorry, the touchpad button, and it will show you the current
That
weakness.
would have been really nice to know. I found out about that way after because I was bitching, and on a site I was looking at, someone was like, you can press the button. I was like, fuck, you can press the button. So what I was doing was reassessing
Right, right, yeah. First
because
time
that
I
would
thought so
bring up
too.
the thing, and I did that for pretty much right up after that because that was the point where I was like, what the fuck? Like he's constantly switching his immunity. And I think it does say, or you can get the idea based on what he looks like, because he's like fiery when he's immune to fire, and he's icy when he's immune to ice.
Hmm.
But it's not always that clear, and he's always flying around, and he's kind of far away sometimes. So
My first battle
that
with
was
that
a
Hell
big.
House took 40 minutes, dude. It
It took
was
me a while. I died a bunch.
I died just once, but no, I didn't even die once. But the thing was,
Just took you a long time.
like
Oh
I
wow.
the fair beginning wasn't too bad. Like I staggered him pretty
No,
quickly,
yeah.
and I used some good abilities while he was staggered, and I got him pretty low. But once he starts flying around and changing his weakness, that's right. It was the God mode where he activates God mode and nothing can hurt him for a while, and then once he un once he takes away God mode, you have to be ready to unleash the moment because it's a
Yeah,
pretty short window. Um,
that was it.
and then but after I got to, like him to like say half HP or whatever, to that God mode uh part of the fight, I was like, yeah, that's fine. I'm missing like one or two elements, but it's fine. I'm just keep going and finish the job, and it took 40 minutes for because I did that.
Yeah.
And so my one of my biggest complaints is that, and really, this has never been solved in a game anyway, in any game ever, actually. The game I have in my mind solves it, but I haven't made that game. It's just a game in my mind, and that is, this is a game where you have to prepare and have all the right equipment, and then do the battle. And the only way to do it is to go into the battle, assess, and then
Uh-huh.
restart the battle. Use the menu. I did that every boss battle. Just okay. First, I'm going to assess
I
it.
started doing that. And it felt terrible every time I did it.
It's annoying because there's a reloading screen too.
Because it feels like you're cheating. It feels like the game is breaking. Like this shouldn't happen.
And that's how a lot of games are, though. Really, like in any
It
game where it's like you got
sucks.
to have the right equipment and stuff. There's like no way to really do it. And so I always had the idea that I wanted to have the game where when you go to a town, one of the main things you go to the tavern. Like it's a common thing in RPGs. You go to the tavern and talk to people, and they all tell you
Oh,
about what's on the road coming up ahead. And then you also
I,
go to a like kingdom library or whatever, the
uh-huh.
royal archive, and you like check out a bunch of books, and just you get all the details on all what's coming up, and then you equip and then go out is what
You know
the
what would
game I always
also
wanted to
have
make.
been what has solved this in other like
Oh,
general
I
instances?
know what you're gonna say.
Just
Yes,
fucking change your equipment in the battle.
that's true.
Just why not? I don't care. How would that break or make this game any like too easy or
Well,
whatever?
no, that's not
Let
the
me switch
problem.
my materia.
I'm pretty sure the reason they don't have that is I think that is like a whole nother round of glitch testing. I think because if it's gonna be create a whole nother bunch of possible
Probably.
ways to to break the game and glitch out the game. Like you start an attack with this equipment and then you switch, and then I think to
What if
avoid
you
all
do
that
it?
workload, they did this way. I think.
It's possible it could also have been done under balancing considerations, but you could do it in. I mean, it's not the same type of game, but you could do it in a lot of RPGs. Let you change your equipment in the battle,
Hmm.
or change characters out. Even if you have access to in Final Fantasy X, you could just swap someone out for someone else in the battle.
That's a turn-based
Uh,
game.
I understand. Yeah. So, but very different environment. So I understand. But what if in similar fashion, they make you take a turn to do it. Use a
I'll use an
ATB
ATB gauge.
gauge
Yeah, that's a good idea,
to
actually.
go into the menu while it's like in like super duper slow mode. Swap out whatever you gotta swap out, and that uses up a damn gauge. There, done. Fucking let me use the right element. That's all I want.
Yeah, exactly. So I don't really know. Like once you become amazing at the game, you probably think it's the greatest thing ever. But until you become amazing at it, it's like you have to restart all the battles, and you also have to like move around material all the time. If you didn't do the thing where you just bought 3 copies of everything, I didn't do
Oh
that.
yeah, I did. I know I did. Toward the end, I bought what is it, 5? Because I was like, I don't want to have to move it off of someone
Oh
else.
right, yeah. Yeah, so all the forced. This is another game with forced party changes throughout the game.
Oh, fucking like, whoa. Like, this is the most forced party change role playing game I played in a while.
Yeah, maybe since FF4, right?
Which is thankfully not that big a deal. It's more like a flavor change than like my strategy. Because you have access to all their equipment when they're not in your party. You can just take material off of them, which was not true in the original game, was it?
that was not well.
Or did it just throw it all into your menu? I'm not sure how that worked,
So
but
I think
I
once
don't
you
remember.
get to the point where you go to like the world map and you get the cell phone, then you could freely change everyone's materia. I
The
think the
PHS, whatever,
PHS. Yeah,
which is referenced in this game along with a lot of other things.
was that reference too?
Yeah, remember in the lab where there's PHS terminals that
Oh
you
right,
call to
those
swap the
things. I
party? I
guess
was
that,
like, oh, okay, all
I guess
right.
that counts. It's a little different because I thought of that more like FF6 in the final dungeon where you have to switch between multiple parties. I didn't
Yeah,
think of it as like changing party members
just that it was
called
called the
PHS.
PHS terminal. Yeah,
Yeah.
whatever the hell that stands for.
Okay, so that's a whole bunch of negative stuff about the battle system. But the sweet part about it is that it has the whole stagger mechanic from FF13, which is implemented really well. Um, the thing that's hard about it is like what we said is we don't know what's the thing. Sometimes we don't know the thing that's going to cause the pressure, and then therefore we
Yeah,
don't know what's going to make them really susceptible to
it's
staggering all the time.
very vague on purpose, like you were saying. The tooltip will be like the yellow text, which is supposed to be the helpful text, will be like a certain attack will stagger them under certain conditions. I'm like, what
Yeah,
the fuck? All
yeah,
right.
they had that for the Rufus battle, where like
Yeah.
no magic or attack will ever affect his stagger gauge, but one certain attack will instantly stagger him. And so it's like there's like 20 different things I could try. I'm really gonna try all of them. God damn it, I never found
Yeah.
it.
I think it was
Maybe it
your
was
limit
counter
break.
stance. Limit
No, I think
break.
it was your
It
limit
was
break. You
limit
instantly
break.
stagger him. Instantly. Yeah.
Yeah, but yeah, like I said, the good part though is how you're supposed to find the way, find the correct things to use, and like kind of juggle them sort of in a way. You know, you find the thing that puts the pressure on them, and oftentimes when they're under pressure, they stop moving for a while. And then during the pressure time, you find the way to get them to stagger, and during the stagger time, they're definitely not moving. And then you can switch to Tifa and have her use all of her she has these her abilities are unique in that they increase the amount of damage the enemy takes when they are staggered. So you know when you stagger them it says times
Sure. Yep.
160%, but then you switch to Tifa and it's like go you can like up it to 200% pretty quickly, and then you switch
Yeah.
back to Cloud and do something huge, something like that.
I didn't fully understand that part either until later, but yeah. So the stagger mechanic, whenever you staggered someone, I always felt like, oh, okay, I'm understanding the mechanics now. Either
Yeah.
that or yeah, I just whittled the guy down for so long, I just staggered him by default.
Yeah. That happens too.
Yeah.
And that does not happen at all, though. So you mentioned that levels don't matter, and they don't when you know what you're doing. But if you don't know what you're doing, actually grinding can mitigate not knowing what you're doing quite a bit. So the grinding is really weird in this game. Basically, it's kind of set up that you're supposed to to feel like you fought this battle, these wild enemies on the street, and you moved on, and they're dead forever. And then you fight another battle, and then you go into the reactor and you fight this group of guys and this group of guys. And once you fight them, they're kind of they're dead forever. Is often the case, but there are a few places where you can kind of just run around in a circle, and the guys will eventually respawn. For example, the Scrap Boulevard in the Sector 7 slums, and also the Talager Factory in the Sector 7 slums. And, of course, then there's just... That's it, right? Oh, and then there's just, like, some outside areas that, if you run all the way down and then all the way back, you can fight the battles twice, whatever. And I was like, okay, this is kind of weird. Like, basically, the best place to fight in the beginning is the Sector 7 slum areas. And then after that, there's no good place to grind until the...
Battle Arena?
Yeah, until the Wall Market Battle Arena. And then there's no good place to grind until the freaking Shinra Tower freaking Battle Arena. It's like they just basically saying, these are the places. They're like telling you, it's an arena. Better grind here, yo. But if you do grind for just like 1 hour, you can almost max out like fire materia, yo. Like you can get Firaga before you go on the next mission, yo, if you want to. And it's not that hard, really. So when you really know what you're doing, or when you're just fighting the easy guys, like grinding kind of feels like a breeze, and that's pretty cool. It makes the game feel like it's on rails all the time, that there aren't that many places you can freely walk around and grind. But I am happy that the grinding is so effective where they do have it.
Yeah, it's nice that there is still grinding to be found if you want it.
You look for it.
And it's not entirely linear. I could see a version of this game where that was the case, where they were just like, nah, encounter to encounter in a straight line.
Yeah, they could have just not respawned, and it would have been that.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah, it could have easily been that type of game.
Yeah,
so the stagger mechanic, the grinding, it's all pretty good. The what was I going to say? There was another element to the gameplay I was going to touch on. Oh, the way enemies draw aggro, the whole fucking game revolves around who you're controlling.
Yes.
Basically.
Oh, this is important. Yes.
So if you're having a hard time with this game, or if you just need to understand the sort of the under the hood mechanics, everything revolves around whoever you're controlling.
Yes.
So your ATB gauge goes up by like a factor of 10.
Yeah.
When you have a guy just idle with him in your control. And also, all the enemies basically just like turn around and look at the guy you're controlling and just ignore whoever the hell you're not controlling.
Yeah.
Almost. Unless they're actively up their butt. So the real key to battle at some point is do a thing with someone, queue up a big fuck you attack, then immediately switch off and let them do it off screen, and then run over as the enemy's running to aggro to them, and then hit them in the butt, and then do your big attack, and then switch to the third guy. And that is kind of the loop you can get yourself into. And if you know what attacks are the ones that the enemy is, super ticklish to, you'll get the stagger and you'll win.
Yeah.
So that is the thing. Like, the aggro is really dependent on who you are controlling.
It is, yeah. And a lot of different reviewers are saying, I can't believe how terrible the companion AI is, which, they're not doing anything, but I'm pretty
It is true.
Yeah, but I'm pretty
point.
sure the game is basically designed so that you have to control all three of them all the time yourself.
Yeah, they don't want you picking your favorite character and playing as Aerith for the entire game.
Man, I was kicking ass with Aerith, and then when she was gone, I was so annoyed.
Yeah, she's gone for most of this game.
Yeah. So when everybody's like, how come I can't just like set their AI controls to heal me every now and then? Or how come I switch to them and they don't have any ATB? That's not good game design. And, every game since forever has had some form of AI controls. But I'm pretty sure like the whole point of their system that they've designed is you have to build up ATB and use it with this guy and then switch to this other person and build it up. The way I was doing it with multiple people, I had a lot of stuff going on, yo. Particularly the Reactor 5 mission where it's you, Barrett, and Tifa. Man, what I was doing was I had first strike materia on, so I instantly had started the battle with some AP, with some ATB, so I could assess the enemy. Nice, right?
Oh, there you go. Perfect.
Yeah. So basically, I had assess ready every time, and then right after that, I'd switch to Tifa. No, I'd switch to Barrett, have him use that overblow thing, which gives him a lot of ATB, but he has to charge it back up before he can use it. Then while he's charging that up, switch over to Tifa, kick some ass, and then use her, after she has 2 full gauges of ATB, use her Unbridled Rage twice, and that changes her triangle button attack, right? And the triangle button attacks are the ones that increase the amount of damage enemies take while they're staggered, right? So I'd get her up to the max level, which is just like do 2 Unbridled Rages, and then you have your max Unbridled Rage level. And then refill up her bar again. Switch back over to Barrett to make sure his his overblow
Charge.
Yeah, his over attack, I already forgot the name of it, is charged up again, and then switch to Cloud, and then eventually, build him up, find the thing that pressures them, and as soon as they're pressured, I can use the R2 button or whatever to have Barrett use focused shot, and he'll use his full 2 ATB gauges, and that's almost like instant stagger right there. But if it's not, also I'll use Cloud's focused strike as well. And then right after that, they're staggered. Right after that, switch to Tifa, unleash triangle button attacks, and then freaking use 2 more Unbridled Rages and do a couple more Unbridled Rage attacks. And it's like all of a sudden they're taking like 240% damage, and then do one other huge thing with Cloud. And that was my basic strategy for all of that huge-ass Sector 5 run. It was pretty cool. And it'd be really easy to pull all that off if the ATB gauge is just charged, and if you could just set them to do stuff. It would be really easy to do all that.
This game would be really a lot. I'd be curious to see.
It'd be fun, for sure.
It would be interesting, because I feel like this game would be so lightning fast.
Yeah.
But you wouldn't be doing a lot of would be responsible for quite a lot of it. You would just kind of be responsible for about a third of it. So it looks like there was AI controls were conspicuously absent from this game, and I was also the one bitching about, man, the AI doesn't do shit.
Oh.
And they don't. But
They don't.
toward the end of the game, I was like, I see how to take advantage of that fact.
It feels intentional to me, is what I want to say.
Oh, that's what I was saying. It's like conspicuously absent on purpose. Like they really don't want you to have like aggressive, defensive, healing, like do magic attack. Like they don't want that. They want you to do it.
I mean, seriously, if you could just set Barrett to just only do prayer when he gets the full 2 ATB gauges, dude, you'd never die. Everybody
prayer
would
is
stay
really
alive
good.
Yeah.
Prayer is really good. So did you know, in terms of gameplay, that you could set your leader character to a different person other than Cloud?
I was complaining about that, and then way later I figured it out.
They don't really tell you that shit at all. I think I've just monkeyed around in one of the menus that you don't really need to be in, and you can start every fight with whoever you want.
Yes, and I was really happy about that, because I was like about to write, this is an objective criticism. You can't, you're not really... You're not really, what's the word I'm looking for? Encouraged to play with anyone other than Cloud. Is what I was gonna write. But then I found that out. I think it's a little button prompt in the bottom right too, and I just never noticed it.
I want to say there wasn't even a button prompt. Like it was on the party screen, and there's a flag next to their name that says leader. And I was like, well, that implies that any other.
You can change the leader.
So,
yeah.
I pressed the only button that came to mind, which was triangle, and sure enough, it switched to leader. But I looked on the screen; there was nothing on the screen that indicates you could do this.
Was there not? It might have been.
I saw.
It was probably in the buried, like in the menu manual.
I heard that there are a lot of things in the fucking loading screens that are not anywhere else.
Are you serious?
I heard this. I read this from someone, and I was like, "What the fuck?" I'm on a base PS4, and the load screens are not that long. Not
I don't
reading
know.
all
I
that.
I kept being able to read the first message of every loading screen at
Yeah,
least. Usually it was a message about your location. It's
yeah.
it's
Just look like
pretty
lore.
it's pretty impressive that they actually put like messages about your current quest in there too if you're doing a quest. I thought that was kind of interesting.
Yeah, that's nice. Since they kind of kept track of that. But yeah, I would usually set when he was available. I would set Barrett to the leader, immediately beat him, get some ATB off to do assess with Barrett,
Hmm.
then move off to whoever else to get in there. But when I discovered that was possible, yeah, and just like the game puts up a stiff challenge. It's I don't know if you thought the game got easier toward the end, or maybe I was just getting better at the game.
No, I had I would say it was for me it was mostly an even
Mm.
a pretty even challenge throughout. Like I totally destroyed the Crab Warden. Do you know who that boss is? That was the robot boss that you fought on the way to reactor number 5. It
I
was
think I do remember that. Yeah.
it's called the Crab Warden, but it's not at all shaped like crab. It's shaped like a freaking what are those beetles called? Like the rhinoceros beetle. It's
Mm.
shaped like a rhinoceros beetle, obviously. Why is it called Crab Warden? And after the
I-
battle, Barrett's like, the first boss we fought was a scorpion. What would you say that last one looked like? But the name is Crab Warden. Why is that? But anyway, I totally obliterated that guy. Like I just found all the right stuff to do. Obviously, they're weak to lightning.
yeah.
But then, frick, man, when it got to the end, the battle against Genova was messing me up all the time.
I don't know. I felt like those battles were going to be a lot harder, but I like got through them pretty easily. I didn't die on any of those encounters, and I really thought I was gonna because there's just a lot going on. I almost died right at the end
Hmm.
because they do that to you, right? Like they set you all to 1 HP.
Oh, did they do that?
Yeah, fucking spoilers.
Which enemy?
Sephiroth.
The Sephiroth battle.
Yeah, he does. I don't remember the name of the attack.
Oh
It's like
yeah,
basically meteor, and you're all at 1 HP,
that's
and
right.
that's when he's also at like almost no HP. So you're basically at this position in the game where everyone's just kind of fucking running at him, and whoever hits him first wins the game.
That's right.
So I was like, that's cool. That's a cool way to up the tension, even if you're winning. I get it. Whatever.
I'm fine with attacks like that.
Yeah, that's fine. It was right at the end of the game, and that fight, I don't know about you, but that whole Sephiroth fight was not that hard for me.
Yeah, I was okay with Sephiroth actually too, but yeah,
Yeah, it was like weirdly not that difficult.
but all the Destiny God fights actually were hard for me the first time.
They
The-
were not easy, but I got through them, and like I said, I was a little surprised I didn't have
You
a
never
harder
died?
time. Not to them, no.
Hmm.
I can't, like, it was hard. Like, I was healing and panicking a lot, but I got through it.
I died to Destiny Bahamut like 3 times.
That was tough. He was kind of doing a whole bunch
Mega
of
Flare.
bullshit.
It was Mega Flare kept just killing me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, in terms of gameplay, I'm trying to think of whatever.
I think we've hit everything
mechanic-
about the battle system and maybe the materia system.
Yeah, I mean the weapons. I mean the weapon system's pretty
Ah.
linear.
Well, it is, but there's a really cool thing I want to say about that. So, yeah, I don't think you can actually get. I don't know. Maybe you can eventually max out all the weapons. I'm not sure. I haven't finished hard mode yet.
In
But
one place, you mean?
I'm sorry.
In one playthrough, you mean?
In one playthrough, I don't think it's possible because I think you have. Yeah, it's definitely not possible because you have to.
Oh, you mean like the skill
weapon
whatever.
abilities. Yeah,
Yeah, okay,
not
yeah,
the
yeah.
abilities, but you know
Not
what
the
I mean.
ability itself.
Not
yeah.
the attack thing, but
No.
the weapon stats.
You're probably right. Like, I mean, isn't it based off of leveling up?
It's based off of leveling up, but even if you it's possible to level up to the max level. It's really weird the way they set up the difficulty, dude. So it's like the max level is 50, yo, and
Oh.
if you grind, I grinded and I ended up like beating the game The first time I didn't grind and I beat the game at level 38. The second time I
Yeah.
did grind, I played twice already. And the second time I did grind and I beat the game at level 45. So if I just grinded a little bit longer, maybe I could have reached 50, but I'm thinking, okay, and then it's going to take a while to reach like the last 10 levels or something, or the last
Did
5
you
levels are going to
get
take.
all of the skill books?
In the
There's a
first
lot.
playthrough, I think I did. I thought I did. I mean, I did
There's like
all the side
40
quests.
something skill books. I was surprised.
40
I
something?
don't. Yeah, because you can look at a play log at the end of the game, and it gives you a breakdown of here's all like the collectibles, and it's like skill books, like 44. I was like, Jesus, I had 5 of them. Where are all
But
the
a
skill
lot of
books?
them, I think that's all of them in the game completely, and a lot of those, it might be showing you the ones that are available in hard mode as well, because you don't get to
You're
look
right.
at that
They
log
said
until you
they're.
beat the game, right?
Yeah, you're
Yeah,
probably right.
and yeah, they give you freaking skill books. Like, so the thing you're supposed to do is go into the system menu and do chapter selection, and next to every chapter, you can just choose to go to a new chapter, right? And
Mm-hmm.
you're the same character as you were. It's not even a new game plus rule. It's just you're you now, and you can
Uh-huh.
go back to any chapter you want as you are now. It's pretty cool. But when you hit the chapter list, it shows the number of songs. You can buy the music,
Yeah.
right? The number of songs still left to find in the chapter if you haven't gotten some of them, and the number of manuscripts that you still have to find. And so I'm like,
Right.
okay, chapter 2, it says I have one manuscript missing. So I went on chapter 2 on hard mode, and I searched everywhere. Could not find it. And I'm like, well, that's like, if I walk a little bit more forward, that's the end of the level. I searched everywhere. Like, I kind of have the second level memorized.
Uh-huh.
I played the second level like 6 times already, it seems like. Got to the end, just beat it, and then it's like, you beat the level 2 on hard mode.
Here
Manuscript.
was a
God
skill book.
damn it.
Damn it. Didn't tell you that, huh?
And then I'm like, okay, well, what's chapter 3 then? It says I'm missing 2. So one of them's going to be for beating on a hard mode. What's the other one going to be for? And get this, yo. One of them for chapter 3, one of them wasn't for for beating it on hard mode. They were both given to me from one of the two of the 6 quests that you can do. So they're like 6 side quests in that chapter 3, and you just have to find the quest that gives you the thing, I think.
Gotcha. Interesting. Well,
So, yeah. So
That's a
I
little
don't think it's possible to max them out on the first game, but on the second game, I'm assuming after I get through all of it, then I'm finally going to have the weapons all maxed out. But the thing I wanted to say that I think is really interesting about the weapons is that there's actually builds in this game.
yeah, you're right.
Yeah, there's the attack build, there's the magic attack build, and there's the balance build, and then there's some other ones too. Like I think the nail bat and also something that Tifa has is like the base all of your damage on critical hits build, I think.
Yeah,
Uh,
that's
so
true.
so there are some builds that you can do, and I think that's pretty cool. I like that. That's all I want to say about that.
Yeah, there is some cool flexibility, and you can respec all of this for like a nominal fee.
100 gil, yeah.
Yeah, it's not much, and it's really cool that your points are universal. It's not like, oh, you wasted all your points on the weapon you don't like.
Yeah.
Like, they give you the points for everything. So
Totally, yeah.
that's a really smart move, I think, in terms of making the game fun.
Quality of life, as
Yeah.
they call it, is totally in this game, like all over
Yeah.
the place.
It really is.
Yeah, switch equipment of any team member anytime.
Yeah.
What else? Only have to redo sorry. You only have to refight the battle you lost and not have to do anything before it.
Yes.
Right, and the thing we just mentioned. So, not bad in terms of quality of life.
Yeah, they want this to be a smooth experience, and I think for even all its difficulty spikes, whether they're your fault or not, there is still a pretty smooth experience in this game.
I would agree, but can we now go from the battle system to exploration? This is my main problem with the game, actually.
Is it the problem that there is basically none?
Sort of.
Or
It's not that there's really none, because, I mean, you look around, you find a chest, but the chests are 90%, let's just say, 90%
healing items.
useless. Yeah. How many potions have I found in goddamn chests already?
Yeah,
Um,
Moogle medals. At
yeah.
least those are kind of useful.
They are a
But
little bit useful, yeah. So, yeah, there's that, but the main problem I have with just like the traveling in this game is throughout the game there's what a lot of game reviewers would say is like good pacing, because there's like lots of story in between, like breaking up the dungeon gameplay, as they say. It's the thing that everybody says, the reason that everybody says Xenosaga has the worst pacing, because it's like a million hours of
story.
dungeon and then a million hours of story.
Yeah.
But the thing that has that Xenosaga, that makes that aspect of Xenosaga better than that aspect in FF7 Remake, is that you're not constantly being interrupted. And my God, in this game, the interruptions are unbelievably constant. Like, they never stop. And what I mean by interruptions is tons of skips, cutscenes just play throughout, right? Just like everything you do, they stop and talk about it. And
You're right. I did notice. I remember thinking at a couple points, like, am I going to play this game?
yeah,
Am I gonna? Is this gonna happen? Am I gonna do this? Can I do this? Can I have it? Can I have the controller, please?
And it's not that as bad. That you can skip a lot of them, but there are also a lot of them that you can't skip. Let me bust out this note, because my current thing that I'm trying to measure about this game. Like, I'm trying to measure exactly how much it interrupts you. So I did chapter 3, which is the side quest chapter. So I guess
Sure.
there's going to be more interruptions than like, say, the bombing mission. But total number of, let me just add them up. 15, 30, 40, 50. Okay. Wow. Holy crap. There are 52 times that you are interrupted in some way in chapter 3. 20 of them are skippable cutscenes, so that's nice. They're interruptions, but they're not long. But then 15 of them are unskippable cutscenes that you can, like, press the X button to make them talk a little faster, maybe.
Yeah.
But you can't completely skip it. 15 of them are scenes where you're forced to walk in slow motion.
Hey,
And I didn't count any of the ones where you can still jog. I just counted the ones where you have to fully walk slow, and there's 15 of those.
The ones that got me the most, where I really made like a comment mentally, was there'll be like a cutscene, and then the camera pans over, and you have control, but
Yes.
you can't move the camera, and then you walk 2 steps, and then more fucking they just take the control back away from you.
Totally.
Like, just fucking play the cutscene.
Yeah,
Stop
make it
this
one
nonsense.
scene already. Exactly.
Jesus.
Yeah, and then there are 2 sections where you crawl under something or between the things or
Oh,
whatever.
fucking
Right?
how many times
Yeah.
in this game are you
So
gonna
many, man.
squeeze between a wall or crawl under a piece of fucking trash?
I know, right?
Holy shit. And I
Yeah.
understand why they do it sometimes.
Sometimes it's got to be for loading, right? Sometimes.
Sometimes it may be. That's entirely possible.
Oh, what's the
What
other
I
times?
think they like to do is, you'll notice, if you're running around in a dungeon and it's like, uh-oh, gotta crouch under this thing, it's because there's a fight on the other side. They don't want you to run back. That's why.
Oh, I see. They're going to use
There's
that
a-
thing you
there's
called
some-
under as
as
a
an arena
blockage for going
That
back.
you can't do the context-sensitive action of crouch walking because they block it with the little arrow through the thing.
I see.
So they love that. That's their favorite thing to do.
Yeah.
This game does that constantly. If you're squeezing between a door that's almost open, it's because there's a boss fight.
I see.
But that happens constantly in this game.
It does. It happens totally constantly, like you said. So that is a total of 52 freaking interruptions. And
And if I ever have to go back to that fucking child's playground where it takes 9 years to squeeze through that wall, I will kill
I
someone.
know, right? I
Fuck
know,
that.
right?
Fuck it. And then they change the direction so up isn't the same direction.
Yeah, you have
so
to push, like,
and
right
then
or
you're
something.
screwed and you're going backwards. I'm like, God damn it!
Yeah. So if you're the person who's like, whatever, you can skip a lot of those things, and they're not that long. Okay, the total time, I used a timer and started it whenever one of these things happened. I'm measuring things, yo.
That's great.
The total amount of time that you can't do whatever you want is 14 minutes and 9 seconds.
Oh my
Of just-
god.
Like, honestly, it would have been better if they just had 14 minutes of Xenosaga cutscenes all
Yeah,
in one chunk, and then you can, go mostly uninterrupted throughout the gameplay part. Like it's better separated, in my opinion.
I agree.
So
I agree. I think they're getting a little too like AAA when it comes to like here's this
yeah, too
cutscene that you
cinematic. Yeah,
control and the camera's moving but you don't move it and it's like I don't want to. I
yeah,
want to crouch walk as Cloud, please. Again, stop. Just do the thing. Do the scene.
yeah.
Prepare. Like, ooh.
So that right there, what I just explained, is the main problem I have with this game, and the thing that makes me not enjoy playing it more and more. Like, you know,
Yeah.
I love,
No. Yeah.
I love the story and I love the battle system, and right there, that's like the kind of the two most important parts of RPGs for most people. So I'm gonna
Mhm.
love this game, right? But I can't handle all these constant interruptions.
The game is very heavy with production value.
It is totally.
Everything takes a little too long to do. Everything's got a big swoosh to it. All the character moves, like they move around. Like I got used to this, but when I first played the demo, I was like, "Oh, Cloud is so slow. It
Uh,
takes forever to move because there's all these frames of animation when he moves."
Dude, there's that one freaking when you're riding the train back to Sector 7 after the opening mission, you have to walk to the front of the train and talk to Barrett, who's sitting down after he scared some like random
Yeah.
Shinra employees. And you have to, and like if you stand, um so he's sitting on the bench, which is like facing the center of the train, right? So he's facing, like he's moving, yeah, he's sitting on the bench, which is facing the and he's facing the center of the aisle, right? If you walk up to him and you're like a little bit diagonal to him, like the circle that says you can probably talk to this guy will appear, but the triangle that says go ahead and push the triangle button to talk to this guy won't appear. So it means you have to be in the exact right position, which is like, okay, fine. But so if you just want to, if you're standing right up next to him and you get that, you need to just move a little bit to the front of him. And so you just tap the analog stick. He just turns around and doesn't move forward at all. And I kept, there were several times where like there's a panel with a switch that you have to push, whatever, where you
Yeah.
have to stop directly in front of it, and it's not
Nope.
really precise.
Nope.
It's
It's
funny.
not. Yeah. Yeah. The game's very slow.
Cinematic,
Yeah, very cinematic
right?
video
Have to
game.
move around realistically. Can't have just a little stuttery, quick, jittery kind
Nope.
of movement.
Nope, not at all. I would imagine speedrunning this game involves a lot of like timing out all of these really slow crawling portions very precisely.
Oh man, yeah. Okay. And also, the last thing I guess about the exploration is that there's all those invisible walls where you're going away from where you're supposed to go, and then there's a big.
Oh, fuck that.
I
No,
hate
no,
that, right?
Cloud. Don't go toward the elevator, Cloud. The
Yeah.
story's this way.
Yeah.
Fuck you. I see a treasure chest right over there. Not now. Video
Yeah.
game says not now.
Isn't that the worst?
It's dumb.
Like, the way they do it is the worst. Like, there are invisible walls in lots of games, but this one is like, it makes you walk in slow motion, but as you get closer to it,
Punishing you.
and then once you reach it, the X appears on the screen and the camera swings back around you to say, no, go the other way. And
And
somebody
then someone
says
probably
something.
yells at you. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, what the fuck, Cloud? Come on.
Like, everything. They put all of the things in for that.
Yeah. Oh, man. It might as well make you take damage when you do it, too.
Okay. What do you think about the side quests in this game, dude? Because I found them mostly not fun at all.
No, that's the worst gameplay-wise. Like, as
Yeah,
far
gameplay
as
is
like
one of the worst things, right?
it really is. Like that whole early open up section in Sector 7 and 5, I guess.
Yeah, also Sector
I
5,
don't
yeah.
give a fuck about any of those NPCs. Not
Yeah.
only are they boring, they look like trash. They look like they stepped out of a PS3 game.
It's
They
harsh.
all have worst like stories I just don't care about. Most of them are obnoxious. And navigating the town to find them is a pain in the ass. And it's like,
I
all
guess
right,
so.
run around here, then go to this like 2 mile strip of areas where there are enemies and do a thing, and then come back. or
Yeah.
find these children,
The
which they
cats.
could be
Yeah.
anywhere, or the
Here's
cats.
yeah, find the cats, find the children are in there totally.
Ugh. Like they're not good, and this is the thing we fully predicted was going to happen. They were
Yeah.
going to throw fetch quests into the game, and sure enough,
And they
they
did.
did.
And they're
And
now some people would say that they offer insight into the not the I don't want to say lore, but into the daily plight and the setting of the slums.
fair, because I got a much bigger, better, clearer picture of that in this game than I ever did in the original.
Mhm.
And I think that is largely owed to the fully 3D aspect of this game, where you can look up and see the plate
That's
above
amazing, yeah.
Sector 7, and when you see that, you're like, fuck, they really are living under
Under
this
a
fucking
plate.
metal thing, and it's really oppressive, and that's a crazy cool visual. And when you're on it, when you're under it, like in that early part of the game, looking down, that's really cool too.
Mm.
And all these visual things, I felt like that communicated that as well. And also just like running through town and hearing the idle ambient dialogue was really effective. And if you wanted to listen to it, you could listen to it. If you didn't run past it, run past it.
It
But
was
I don't
crazy
know.
how much they put in. Like I swear,
Yeah.
I think they actually programmed, recorded and then programmed a voiced line for for like a unique one for nearly every unique citizen in the freaking slums. Because like if you run into the same person over and over again, they'll say the same thing over and over again. And if you walk into a different person over and over again, they'll say their different same thing over and over again. And it seems like everybody has something to say.
And
It's
they all
crazy.
they have something to say constantly.
Yeah,
So it gets a little overwhelming where it's just
yeah,
like everyone, like people are cutting themselves off. It's like,
yeah.
my cat wants to go, did you go to the grocery store? Where is this guy? I was like, fuck, I'm trying to listen to Barrett. He's right here. And these people are just like blowing up at me and the subtitles are all over the place. It's a little too much. They could have dialed it back a bit. But overall, I
Yeah.
think it was really good. When it works well, it works well. Like you're walking slowly down the hallway and someone says something and it's cool, or it's whatever, touching or whatever.
Yeah.
I like it. I
They
think it mostly works.
they use that a lot for the whole I guess you could call it character development of um well, it's not character development yet, but it's the part, where Cloud just arrives at the slums and he's like, I'm gonna be a merc. And you gotta start out by doing this stuff. And he does like a few jobs for people. And then like before you know it, the whole town's like, have you seen that merc? He's doing everything for everybody.
Yeah, yeah, they do some of that. They also fucking repeat that entire scenario in Sector 5.
They do, exactly.
Hey, you're here. Gotta build up a rep. What the burr, burr, burr. I'm like, this is dumb. This
Yeah.
is a dumb thing that I'm doing
And you
now.
also kind of build up a rep in the same way in the freaking wall
Market.
market, and then you
Yeah,
finally help everybody before you go up to the plate too.
yeah, you gotta talk to Barry Silky Voice and make
Yeah,
that guy fucking like you enough to tell you to fuck off, basically.
yeah.
uh,
And
I don't know.
the rewards for the side quests are I haven't checked. No, I did check a lot of them actually. Yeah, are I want to say it's like most of them meaningless, and then a few of them really good. So like the easiest quest in the whole game is like you speak to Chadley, and he's like, can you go assess a couple monsters? And so you run to freaking Scrap Boulevard, assess the freaking rats and the gobbler guys. They're in there. You run back. That quest is completed, and he has the wind materia for sale. Kind of a super important,
Mhm.
reward for like the easiest quest ever. But then you do the rat quest, which takes multiple steps. You run to the place with the rats. You kill the rats. You go back. He tells you they're the wrong rats. And I'm not sure what even I'm not even sure what triggers the next part of the quest. But then when you finally find the right rats, which I could swear is the same junkyard, I'm not sure what's going on there. You get 5 high potions, and it's like, yay, high potions.
Oh, the side quests in this game are so dumb.
Yeah.
Oh my god! And the one thing I don't know. I'll save it for later. But yeah, the side quests the rewards are a little all over the place, and some of the time, like I'll be spending all my time on this dumb side quest, and I'll just be like, all right, this stupid person's talking. Hang on, let me look at my phone. And it's like, oh, thank you so much, Cloud. I'm like, wait, what did you give me? I don't
Yeah.
even know what you gave me. What did I get? And I looked at my inventory, and I have no idea what the fuck I just did all that for. It was probably 5 high potions.
Probably.
I know, and some money.
Yeah.
I don't know. So I'm just like, great. I basically don't even know why I did that.
Did you do basically all the side quests? Because my
I
first
missed
time through, I
one.
went ahead. You did?
I missed one.
Okay, you missed one, but you basically did all of them. So
I
same
did
here.
all of the rest of them.
I really hate how they just keep you know, all RPG stories have escalation, but they escalate the amount of side quests because like it keeps getting more and more and more. And the last one you do, it's 9 side quests, and my God, I swear that for my first time through anyway, I spent about 5 hours just doing the final chapter of side quests. I was like, Jesus Christ, that was
Some
terrible.
of the side quests kind of fed into themselves in ways that were like, okay, they're trying to make this easy-ish on you. Like, you'll go here, and then when you're done here, you're kind of in the right place to start or hand this in or do this or go there. That kind of lines up a little bit in a way that's like, thoughtful. They kind of figured this part out reasonably. Like, not the worst side questing to find ever, but not needed for this game. It didn't need to be there.
Didn't need to be there at all. Yeah.
And this game was robust enough, like maybe 1 or 2 things per area. Like what's her name, that old woman in Sector 5 who was like the whatever.
The teacher? The orphanage teacher?
No, the old short woman.
Who did what? What did she want? I don't remember.
She was like the Rose of the whatever the fuck.
The Angel of the Slums. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
Like have her as a side quest, and maybe one other person. That's it. That's all you needed. Put some flavor in the area. That's fine.
I didn't really care for the Angel of the Slums aspect.
I didn't either, but at least
it's one thing. Yeah, just her would have been enough. Is what you're saying.
And then make the reward better, and then that's it. That's all you need.
I think, I don't know. So the best part, when you have a good reward, it's a good reward. But other than that, I'd say the best times of the side quests, like when they shine the most, is when they actually give you the story reward. So, for example, that Leaf House Orphanage was run by Biggs. Did you know that?
Yeah, I think I did catch that. I don't
Yeah.
remember, but that does sound familiar.
Yeah, and he mentions it when during his death scene too. He's like, "There's this orphanage. Go to it." So I thought that was kind of cool that they added that thing to Biggs. They didn't need to give me extra stuff about Biggs, but they did. That was cool. So I was fine with that. And you get when you do all the Chapter 3 quests, the reward for doing all of them is you get an optional scene with Tifa where you guys are like deciding you're gonna go out on a date together. Remember that?
Right.
You go to your room and it's just the two of you and it's really sexual tension and exciting. And then she's like, "We should go out on a date and dress up all fancy. What should I wear?" And then you choose what you want her to wear, and whatever you choose, that's the dress she wears when she goes to Don Corneo. So you can change that dress, is what I'm saying.
Okay.
Yeah.
That early sort of ish part of the game was like almost comical in the amount of sexual tension between the both of you. It's like you could have finished every scene with "and then they fuck."
You could have,
Like almost every sentence at one point was like, "and then they bang," but no, they just stare at each other.
Yeah, it never happens. Yeah, Cloud has like too many freaking principles.
He's got
or
too
something.
many hang-ups. That guy's got hang-ups for days.
Yeah. He can't even, get it on with the person he obviously loves the most in this world and loves him back.
I mean, I guess
it's got to be them, right?
I don't even know that Cloud is like fully registering that. Like, that's the kind of person I read Cloud as. He's too fucking weird and full of fucked up memories to have like a real emotional response to most things.
Yeah.
He couldn't even give Aerith a high five.
I know, right?
Struggling to do it.
and that was the character development that he finally gave her a high five at the end, right?
Yeah. Yeah, that was his story arc.
Yeah.
Learn to high five.
Yep.
Good job, Cloud.
So
So I feel like we're itching to get into the story.
okay, I think that's the most important part. Well, not most important, but the part that everybody's looking forward to. Can we do music
Uh-huh.
and graphics first?
Okay, yeah.
Let's go music.
All right, music. I think in your opening, your
Demo
your
review.
demo reaction, I think you expressed some concern that it was all orchestrated. I think it panned out pretty well. I don't know if you agree.
I agree. They did actually add a lot of um, yeah, an amount of non-orchestral parts as well, and the rock version of the boss theme was even in there.
True. Yeah,
Hmm.
yeah, you're right. I think it all worked pretty well. This is all a very grand upscaling of the original title, so it fits with sort of the heavy-weighty orchestral thing. And it's not the Hollywood orchestra. It's not the forgettable, everything's just violins and fucking whatevers.
Yeah,
It all sounds like good orchestral takes on the original soundtrack.
yeah, and I
And
think
they,
there was
they
some
do
originals
it.
too,
Oh yeah, I
like
mean,
maybe the
yeah,
slums.
totally original.
I think the Aerith slums town might have been in a new song. I think.
You're probably right. You're
Hmm.
probably right. But there were a lot of really good takes on the original soundtrack.
Totally.
That were, I think they worked given the new atmosphere. It's a different atmosphere. It's not the same. So you gotta kind of play it a little differently.
Hmm.
And I think it fit. I really don't have any complaints in the soundtrack department, to be
Yeah,
honest.
yeah. I don't think there's really any like objective negative you can say about it. I can say that in classical music there's a kind of, I don't know that it's called a genre of classical music, but there's a kind of song in classical music called themes and variations. And it's where like they play the theme and then they play a whole bunch of variations of it. At least I think that's what it was.
The leitmotif, is that sort of what you're referring
Well,
to?
no, a leitmotif is no, because a leitmotif is just like a short little phrase that gets used over and over again,
Oh,
kind of a
okay.
thing. This is you play a melody, let's say, and then later you play a kind of slightly altered version of it, and then a different
Gotcha.
altered version of it, and then like
Yeah,
there's multiple
that happens
variations.
a lot.
Yeah, and I mean, really, all classical music, lots of orchestra music has that, and
Sure.
and just that's the word that comes to mind when I listen to this kind of really cinematic music. And the thing is that a lot of these songs now this is coming from the point of view of the person who liked the original soundtrack, right? And who played the original FF7 and heard Nobuo Uematsu's freaking battle thing all the time, right?
Yeah.
And the thing is with video games, and especially less cinematic ones, not older ones, but less cinematic games, you have the battle song and the this area song and the that boss fight song, and they're all usually very strongly connected to where they play, what part in the game that they play. And I think that just having a song that repeats ad infinitum for as long as you're in the area and stuff is actually a very effective way of doing game soundtracks. And
Sure.
and that's cool. And I found that for me anyway, all the different versions of all the original Nobuo Uematsu songs, I didn't really care for the ones where it had lots of variations. I just wanted the theme. So the main, if you can call this the main battle theme in this game, when you're fighting out on like the road, I think, for example, when you're fighting in the freaking Junk Boulevard or whatever,
Hmm.
just like the three battles that are in there, it's like the full orchestra, and
Yeah.
it doesn't really go off into a whole bunch of random newly composed tangents, or if you want to call it that, or variations. I find that those are the most memorable, in my opinion. Like the whole thing with Nobuo Uematsu is that he loved the Beatles of all people, but the thing that he liked about the Beatles was that it was simply like a melody and like a chord, or like a melody and like a
Hmm.
bass line, kind of. It's just like two parts in his is what he
Hmm.
was said once in an interview a long time ago. And so even in his more even FF7 is kind of more on the orchestral side for him, I think. it's still there was always a strong sense of melody as you play through the game, and yeah, the more cinematic the music becomes, the less melodic. I want to say this: the less melodic it becomes. Like there are the exceptions, like say
Sure.
Star Wars, right? It's like super melodic, super
Oh yeah.
super memorable, easy
But
to
as a
remember.
general rule, that does apply.
Right, just lots of random string parts and stuff like that. So anyway, yeah, that's what I want to say is that I think I prefer just when they played, like when we're fighting the freaking Sephiroth battle. Like there's I don't know, I don't remember what all the parts were I heard during the battle, but later I went on YouTube and just listened to the Sephiroth battle music
Yeah.
on YouTube, and like it's got okay, here comes the okay, they sang that, but then right after that, they put a different part of the song, and then they played a different part of the song, and it was like a remix in the
Sure.
most common sense of the word. And I'm like, okay, they're like mixing all these parts together, and that's fine, but it's really good quality, of course. But then at the very end, they finally just played the song like kind of as it was originally from beginning to end. I'm like, that's the song right there. That's what I want. I mean, that's. It's not because it has to be the old way. I don't really care about that because I'm not the super hardcore FF7 fan like a lot of people. But it was better in my opinion when
Yeah.
it was a video game song versus a movie song is what I'm saying. There you go.
Sure.
That was a
Yeah,
long thing.
they definitely got very close to tipping over that line
Yeah.
too much. They came close. Like, I guess my biggest critique of the soundtrack would be that I don't love it. I don't hate it. It's not like I hate this soundtrack.
Yeah, there's no
But
song
I'm
that's like,
not
this is
walking away
sucky.
from this going like I'm gonna listen to this one again. Like I'm not. It all worked. It was effective in the moment, and I enjoyed it while playing the video game. But it's not like one of those take home with you
Yeah, listen to it as a
soundtrack.
CD at home, yeah.
Not gonna happen. Like maybe out of curiosity, so I can hear more of it more clearly. Maybe once, I don't know. Maybe after this recording, kind of interested in maybe doing that. But I doubt I'll go back to it after that. I did get sick of some of it because some of the tracks were a little obnoxious. Like the Wall Market track got a little fucking annoying at some point.
Was it the one that played? I don't remember. Oh, that one. Yeah, that's
over and
right.
over.
Yeah.
Or the one where they have like the goofy combat scene where it's like burr, burr, burr.
That's the one from that's the original Walmart.
Yeah, that's
song.
original.
And
But
I thought that
it's
was
like,
actually funny. I liked that.
it is funny, but it got like I was like, this one's a little grating.
But it doesn't really
Not
play
so
it that
bad.
often, right? Only like in that one dungeon, I thought.
It was their go-to. This isn't serious music.
Yeah, which I enjoy.
Which whatever. But yeah, it all worked. I didn't hate it when I first heard it. I just thought some of it overstayed its welcome. Maybe because I was just in Wall Market forever. I don't know why, but
Yeah, that was a pretty long section.
So soundtrack now visuals, right?
Oh yeah.
Okay, so
The thing that everybody's saying
yeah.
about the visuals is that it looks amazing if you're looking at Cloud and your characters and this part, but then you look at this thing over here and it looks terrible.
Yeah.
It doesn't really bother me, but they are correct.
That is, yeah. I thought at some points it was so glaring that it did actually remove me from the experience.
Oh yeah.
Like there were clearly unfinished textures in the game. They just didn't put in the final package the high resolution version of that door over there or that wall or whatever.
My expectation is that they didn't put it in on purpose, though.
I mean, they didn't have time, probably.
No, I
or
think
there was a performance issue.
That's what I'm thinking. This is for PS4, but it's got to look insane. But it also has to run kind of well. So
it ran well. Like
it ran really well. So I think that's what they did intentionally to make it run well.
Probably true. But I don't know. Like, I'm not a game programmer. I could be totally wrong. But like, did they really have to cut back the textures that hard? Did Cloud have that many polygons? Maybe he did. I don't know.
Yeah.
But yeah. As far as performance goes, since we mentioned it, I didn't notice any issues.
Yeah, basically frame rate is good
Yeah.
all the time, basically.
I didn't watch the Digital Foundry take on this. They're like the frame rate masters. They love
Yeah.
tearing apart things. So I didn't watch that because I didn't want to see anything before I got to it. So I'm sure whatever they said is probably like it dips here and there, but otherwise it's great, which is what I would say.
Yeah, when they mentioned
uh,
when they did their review of the demo or something, they said
uh-huh.
that it goes down to like what was it? I can't remember the number, but it goes down a little bit below 60 frames per second, or I mean 30 frames per second during boss battles. Or I'm sorry, no, it wasn't the frames. It was the resolution. I think the frames rate might have been constant actually. 30.
Yeah, this game's going to look crazy when it hits PC. It's
Oh
really going to look
yeah,
crazy
it
because you
it
know
is.
they're going to have all those textures are in there. The frame rate's going to be 60 frames. A game like this at 60 frames is going to look bananas.
Yeah.
And who knows what other Japan loves adding extra shit, so they'll probably add like some stupid costumes or who
Oh
knows
yeah.
in the re-release. I don't know, but it'll be interesting to see how this game performs. I guarantee you this is going to be on the PS5.
Yeah,
Uh,
that's happening for sure.
so that's going to definitely probably happen
Oh,
not
that's
long
when they'll put
after the
in the full
PC
textures, and then
release.
there won't be any
Oh yeah, oh,
load
yeah,
times.
yeah.
It's gonna be
Any
crazy.
load time. No load times.
But it
Get
doesn't
rid of
matter.
all that crouching under the rubble.
Yeah. We're still gonna have to crouch under the rubble, and we're still gonna have to walk slow to listen to the
Damn it.
conversation and skip all the cutscenes. And oh my god, so
But yeah, visually looked very good. Except like I was saying, the NPCs don't look great. Their animations are bad. And
I guess
uh
so. They were just moving their arms around and stuff. I mean, what do you want from them?
well, okay. They were moving their arms around in like one of three canned motions. So in particular,
Uh
anyone who wasn't Cloud and Tifa and Barrett and whoever were clearly not actively motion captured. They had someone
totally.
do three things with their body, and then they just like
Cycled
pressed
between
one,
them.
two, or three based on whatever general emotion they wanted that person to exude. So Johnny, the guy who was like getting beat up all the time, he had
Yeah.
like three things he did. He did them constantly,
Huh.
and it
I
was
have to pay attention to that.
ridiculous.
Okay, I
He
didn't
like
actually
waved
notice.
his arm in front of him, like like
Like
panning his arm
no.
in front
Yeah.
of him.
Like
No, like
no.
no, like look at this all over here, like a panning in front of him motion with his arm, and then he would transition that into a fist bump. He must have done that like a dozen times.
Huh. I need to pay
And
attention more.
yeah, if you see it, you'll see it, and it'll be like he does do that a lot. It's a little weird. It's definitely like a little cost-cutting thing that they, I don't know, whatever. I'm sure the budget on this game was insane, but
But that's what
uh,
they just did with Johnny, not during cutscenes. With cutscenes, he moves a lot and does lots of things,
in
right?
cutscenes he does, yeah. But whenever you're just talking outside of like a cut scene where there's just dialogue where it is
Yeah.
voiced, but he is trying to do a thing, there's just not enough of it. Like, and it's all so very big and exaggerated, which brings me to the critique I have of all of the motion capture, which is it's all kind of bad, I think.
With the
Like,
exception of the main characters or them too.
no, I think the main character motion capture, even the lip sync to some degree, but some forgiveness there because this was translated. I don't know what they had to do in order to figure that out. But regardless, the body motion capture, if you compare this to a game like The Last of Us or Uncharted or God of War or Red Dead or any of these other triple A top budget motion captured cinematic games, the motions that people have, the naturalness, the realness of how they behave and move around in a conversation is just like way more believable than these sort of like pantomiming, really
Hmm.
exaggerated. I don't know if this is an anime thing, like an aesthetic thing that they're aiming for, or if they didn't really give the same amount, if the production process wasn't as like involved. Because this is how games used to be motion captured, where you would tell your actors, "All right, in this scene, scratch your head and then look angry," and do that, and then we'll figure it out in post. We'll throw the dialogue on top of that, as
Yeah.
opposed to here's your scene. You're not only the capture actor, you're the voice actor. We're going to capture your whole fucking body doing this whole scene. And you're going to walk around and you're going to react physically to the whole scene. And it's going to work and it's going to look like real people doing real things. And this looks like video game puppets doing real things, like really high production. But all of whatever Barrett is doing in every cutscene looks ridiculous. Like the
Really?
way he moves around, like it's not totally like
It's unnatural, huh?
it's just not. It's pantomiming is what he's doing.
Mm.
Like it doesn't really fit, and maybe that some of that has to do with the fact that this was all modeled around Japanese dialogue, and the pacing of their movement doesn't really fit the pacing of the movement with the dialogue in English. Entirely possible, but it didn't, in my experience, stack up to the sort of presentation value that I've seen in Western games, which of course would have been done originally from the ground up in English. But I don't know, it didn't hit the high bar the way I thought a game like this would, in my observation.
Huh.
In that regard, and the lip syncing again, that could be related similarly, but the big thing everyone's harping on is the voice acting, which I thought was okay.
I thought it was really good.
I didn't hate. Some people fucking hate it.
Some people
I didn't hate it.
Barrett, I know, but
Well, not even Barrett, but like the lines and the scripting of the game, which right, like it, considering the source material and and what this game is, which is a silly anime fantasy title, I was all right with it. Like whatever. Like Cloud, you can't write anything profound with a character whose background is clouds. Like I'm sorry, you're really limited with what you're working. Like Tifa is a cool character, and that is it. That's all Tifa is. She's cool. Aerith is charming. There's really not much to like dig in, and I don't need that. I'm not saying that as like a flaw, but that's just what the game is bringing to the table. So like, what? How nuts can you get with the dialogue in the script? Not really. So I didn't have an issue with the voice acting or the scripting. I did. Go ahead.
I'm a little question marky on what you mean by the dialogue isn't good. Like, it's not good.
The delivery of the characters is a little like stilted. But again, you can only work with what you're given as a voice actor with a script.
Yeah.
How else are you going to deliver the lines? I don't know.
Is the problem that the dialogue is bad because just the characters aren't deep?
I think because the script itself isn't deep, because the characters just are not that profound. Like, they're really not complicated people. And it's because the source material is not that complicated. I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong. But I was okay with all of this. Like, I kind of expected Final Fantasy VII story, but more. And I got that. And that was fine. But as far as the voice acting in particular, the sort of presentation value of that, I thought it fit. I thought it was okay. I wasn't like, it didn't offend my like critical taste at all. Some people really dump on it. I don't know quite where they're coming from. I guess I get it, but it was really the motion capture was the like sort of the flaw that I saw. I was like, this could be better. This could look a lot more modern in the production value of it. And for a game that's like, we just opened this fucking episode, the game of all games, the thing no one thought was gonna fucking happen.
Yeah.
And it's kind of dated in that way. It's a little kind of showing some cracks in the armor there, kind of production value a little bit. But I don't
know. You don't know.
I just because I'm not sure if that's actually what's going on.
Yeah.
I'm not sure if that is a like, we didn't have the money to do this the right way, or if it's, well, this is difficult because this was all modeled around the Japanese lines.
Yeah, that could. So that's usually the problem with JRPG English. dialogue, voiced or not, is that they have to translate everything to be kind of what do I want to say? Just to say things kind of directly, I guess, all the time. And well, it's just the whole culture difference, I guess.
There's that too. That definitely comes like what reads as bad scripting in English doesn't in Japanese.
Exactly.
Like what just character being a little like dim kind of doesn't in Japanese in some instances, I guess. I
So
don't know if
like
that sounds like weird.
well, check this out. In Japanese, it's a very common thing to say. In Japanese, it would be "kaze hiku to warui." Like they'll tell you to say put on a sweater because you don't want to catch a cold. But in Japanese, they say put on a sweater "kaze hiku to warui," and "kaze hiku to warui" means because it would be bad if you caught a cold. Like nobody in the world, like everybody in the world, doesn't know that catching a cold is a bad thing. And that's a normal thing to say. In Japanese, it's not weird or overbearing or anything. It drives me crazy, to be honest. But like, I know it's not good to catch a cold.
I see what you're saying.
But so they have that line in a game, and then they're gonna switch that to English. You don't want to catch a cold or something like that. I know maybe nobody ever was gonna say that in English. So those things, I guess, are the main reasons in the past, at least, for why JRPGs had weird scripts. Is just the whole language or cultural difference or whatever. But I don't know. You're kind of blowing my mind because, I know that I've never really known what makes good characters and good story. I've always more been interested in what made the gameplay good. And so I'm over here playing this very cinematic game. I've only played, I think the only AAA Western game I played, of this kind was like Assassin's Creed 4 Black Flag, and also the other Assassin's Creed-ish Lord of the Rings game, the one where you kill kill orcs with the Nemesis system, as it's called.
I think currently, like, the sort of high watermark for like realness in video game acting is probably The Last of Us, because they really do get quite a lot of human emotion in like really, really good looking way across through the screen. These people look like they're upset, and they don't look like they're video game characters, like squinting a little bit,
So, but you didn't think that like Barrett didn't look like, Barrett has like his scene where he's like talking to Marlene, or the scene where he's like
Barrett, I think, comes across the best because he's not some like emotionally fucking constipated weirdo.
Okay.
And Aerith isn't, but she's always charming.
But she's kind of weird in her own way.
She's
too.
a little little ditzy. And Tifa, there's just not enough there with Tifa. Tifa's eye candy for one, and then the other thing is she's just like a cool character. Like her whole shtick is she's a badass with giant boobs.
Yeah.
I don't know what else she's got going on. She's nice.
She's Cloud's friend, from the
Cloud's
childhood.
friend. Yeah,
Sephiroth burned her hometown too. That's about it, I guess.
And Cloud is, I don't even know. Like Cloud's just this emotional stone wall.
I know,
so
yeah.
There's like trauma going on. Like if that was how a real human being behaved, I'd be like, you gotta see a therapist like now. You can't even high five someone.
Yeah.
And think about how bad that is.
That is.
But it's a video game. It's kind of like it's an anime sort of thing. Like this, the pensive loner character who's very skilled but not able to communicate, like that kind of thing.
Yeah.
Whatever. I'm willing to go with that. So I don't really dock it for being what it is, and what it's aiming to do. But the other elements of it, I think, could have been a little more higher production value. But in terms of the emotion that they're able to get across, it's probably pretty difficult to do in a translated setting.
For any of the characters, pick anyone you prefer to be a more complicated one, and therefore like
In
have
terms of
better.
their story,
Whatever you need for them to have better dialogue. What is an example of a thing that could be in this?
I don't know. I mean, it's hard to say. You have to rewrite quite a
Stuff.
lot.
Yeah.
I mean, you would just have to do rewriting and make this game something else or whatever it is. And I'm okay with this being sort of an excuse for a cool action story with set pieces and like some
Yeah.
revenge plots, and I'm totally fine with that. I don't need like a ponderous, deep story.
Okay.
Like, I'm fine with Dragon Ball Z. I'm fine with all that stuff. It's fun. And that's what
Okay.
this is.
But it doesn't. It's okay. So it comes across, but it comes across less as a little bit not as good. I'm sorry. It comes
Well, no,
across
like
a little bit less quality when you see the motion capture and dialogue.
I think that part of it could have been made better. I just think that mechanically that could have come across better, where the characters weren't kind of like pantomime. Like their movements are fake. They move like fake people moving, pretending to have emotions. They don't move like real people do.
Overacting.
Yes, they're definitely overacting, big and large with big arms, the way people don't do in real life, outside of anime, I guess. Which I don't know. Again, maybe that was what they were trying to do. It just comes across as goofy in when you put real people and real high fidelity looking character models, and
Yeah.
I don't know. But
you didn't find any of the maybe it's not natural or whatever, but you didn't find the dialogue to be witty or fun at all. Like, for example,
some of it.
yeah, I thought a lot of it was pretty cute, at least. For example, after the first bombing mission, Jesse's like, here's some healing material. You do know how to use it, right? And Cloud replies with, "You do know what I was, right?" Like using her exact same sentence structure against her, kind of a thing.
Yeah, it's not all bad. Like the translation team wasn't like falling on their face. Like they were doing okay.
Okay. Yeah. I thought
But there
it was
were parts
amazing,
of it.
and you're like,
There
no,
were
it's
parts
bad.
of it. Like one example that someone pointed out to me was Cloud was like, I think it was when the rest of the Avalanche crew were. It was after one of the missions, and they were like, "So, hey, Cloud, like, your parents still around?" And then he just goes, "No."
Yeah.
And then the other guys look at each other and go, "Ha ha!" and give a big thumbs up. I'm like, what the fuck? Like, I get what they were going for because they also
He's
didn't
like
have
us
parents.
now. Yay, we can all have fun going to
But
her house
that's
now.
not what you would do. You would say, "Oh, I'm sorry, bro," or something.
I see what you're saying,
Like,
yeah.
you wouldn't give a big anime thumbs up and then go, "Ha ha," and nod your head. Like, all right.
It's a good point. It's a good thing I talked to you before making my super objective review of this game, and I'm like, the dialogue is amazing. I need to find more examples of that kind of thing. I guess I really.
Well,
I don't know. Maybe I need. Do you have to
we'll
study
get into
writing for 5 years before you can find any of this stuff? I'd like to think not, but
I don't know. I guess it's just what you're paying attention for, what your ears are perking up for or not. Like it didn't stick out. Like I had to kind of look for a little bit, but once you kind of look at it and think about it, you're like, that didn't read right. That didn't. That could have been. I don't know. But some of this we'll touch on in the story part.
which I think we're at now finally.
I guess so.
So
we've got past the music and the voice acting and the graphics.
yeah. So I guess I'll start by saying what I thought about this story from the point of view of a person who's never played Final Fantasy VII, the original, right? I think when they play this story, they're gonna have a very similar reaction to the naysayers, which kind of I'm sort of in, of the people who are like they're changing the story. It's not as good as the original because it's not the original kind of thing. I think they're going to have kind of that same reaction because I think they're going to be like, okay, yeah, so this guy's a mercenary and whoa, we're the guys who are gonna do the bomb, the terrorist act. That's kind of, making me question the morality or whatever for a little bit, um, and then they're gonna see, okay, yeah, Barrett's actually a good guy. He loves his daughter, and he's doing this for the planet. And they're gonna learn all these little bits of lore, and they're gonna, okay, Tifa's the best friend, and then, but basically the basic human story of the whole Shinra is the evil corporation. It's such a timely story too, because now everybody thinks, because global warming and in climate change is like a hot topic these days, and Trump is evil corporate guy is also a hot topic these days. It's kind of surprisingly timely in my opinion. But yeah, the whole human story of just these are the corporation and they're sucking the life of the planet to be power for the people. And these guys are trying to stop it. And it's an emotional journey filled with death and caring and all that stuff. They're going to be on board for that stuff, I think. And I think throughout the whole game, they're going to be like, well, wait, what's up with the Sephiroth guy? What's up with him? And then when you get to the end of the game, they're going to be like, what's this Genova thing that we're fighting now and that he keeps carrying and he referred to as mother? And then throughout the game, they're also going to be like, what's up with all these ghosts that keep coming and like not being here for any reason? And then at the very end of the game, it's like, how come we got to kill the god of destiny? Like, why is that important to us all of a sudden? And then after all of that's done, I know, like, from just because Sephiroth kept appearing throughout the game, that Cloud and Sephiroth are enemies. But why is he the last boss? Yeah, why do they hate each other? So it's like
Who is he?
a pretty good kind of simple, fun story. Good to make like a Hollywood movie story, combined with crazy, I don't know what the hell is going on, Nomura Kingdom Hearts story in there. And did you find out what that is? Because I found out and my mind was goddamn blown. What the whispers are. If you don't know,
you found out something specific? No, go ahead.
So you know how like Red says those are arbiters of fate. Do you know what he's talking about?
I guess I don't.
Oh my god, dude! Maybe I'm gonna blow your mind right now.
Oh, maybe.
Because so this is only gonna make sense to people who played the first Final Fantasy VII, which you have. Every time they show up, their goal, those ghost things are called whispers. Their goal is to make sure destiny isn't changed by whatever would possibly change it, which doesn't make any sense because if it was going to happen, it was destiny. But
sure.
Now, if I after I tell you that, and if you think about when the ghost showed up, do you know what the destiny they're protecting was? It's meta as hell, dude.
What, the plot? Like, what is it?
They show up every time something that didn't happen in the original is gonna happen, and they make sure it goes according to the original Final Fantasy VII. That blew my mind. You're not impressed.
I'm not. No,
I thought that was cool.
Don't. I am a little. I'll give it that's a little more clever than I gave it credit for. But it's not worth it.
Not worth it. I would agree.
That is not. I would not say that redeems their use of that plot device at all. It is a little more. Yeah, like I said, it's a little more savvy than just stapling on this entirely unnecessary plot mechanic. And like it's like just someone wanted to put their own stamp on this story, and they're like, this, and it's the least developed, least compelling, least interesting looking.
Yeah. It's just a bunch of freaking cloaks that fly around.
It doesn't even show. It shows up so sporadically. Every time it did, I was like, oh yeah, those guys.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I guess I still don't know what the fuck that is. And some people see them and some don't. No one seems to give half a shit that a giant, like, swirling cloud of ghosts showed up and then didn't. No one's talking about them outside of the moment it's happening. It's so Yeah. Now, I would say, as far as those things go, I think this story as a remake, and if it's going to be a remake that is extended in length, and it is. So if it's going to be that, if it has to be that for whatever fucking reason, they did about as good a job as I think you could do with what they have in that portion of the story that they're working from,
Yeah.
up to the point where they start
Adding those
that
things. Yeah.
those things, because
Yeah.
they do add a lot that I think is great.
Oh, right.
If it's going to be added, I think the stuff they added is good. Like, some people are bitching, they added story to these characters who didn't have it and they died. Right? I'm like, yeah, but they added kind of interesting story and they filled out these characters, Biggs and Wedge and whoever.
yeah, I really enjoyed the Biggs Wedge Jesse chapter where you
Yeah,
go
and
out there.
Jesse, I was totally fine with all of that expansion of what they had originally. Midgar and Shinra and the mayor and
Same here. Same
all
here.
that stuff, all the
All the
little
human
details
aspects.
of Wall Market and how much more of a role that plays and things. Great, fine.
I had no
Perfect.
idea that it was called Wall Market because Shinra decided to wall it in and let it be
I,
its own
I,
outlawed area.
I think they made that one up for this.
Really?
I think they figured it out. I think the reason it was called Wall Market in the original game is because when you go up to it, there's a giant wall.
That,
Like, there's a
is that the
portion of the
only
wall
reason?
that you
Yeah.
walk through. And I don't know if that was what it was called in Japanese. I don't know. But I don't remember there ever being any piece of lore saying this is what's going on.
I don't think there was, but I wondered. I'd assume that's what.
Not a bad idea. Fine. That's cool. It's like a weird Las Vegas kind of
Yeah.
thing going on there. Totally fine with it. But all of this,
Ghosts and
it,
Sephiroth
it
stuff.
reeks of lazy plot device.
Yes.
Where it's like tantamount to the same thing as if you said, and then it was all a dream. Like this really
Yeah.
bad cop out mechanic where anything can
happen. Yeah.
it gives you a really, 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 really cheap license to do whatever you want. You can make your characters mortally in danger, but not really. You can kill someone, but not really. You can blow stuff up, but not really. And it just cheapens everything that happens. And it's threatening if this mechanic continues to occur in the rest of the games.
Remakes,
it's threatening to just cheapen the entire fucking plot.
And the thing is, they didn't. You said it was a cheap device that they can use to do whatever they want, which is kind of weird. That at least in this game, they didn't really need to have an additional device to do anything. Like everything was set up and executed pretty well on the human side. Just they added the ghosts to it.
You could cut it out entirely.
Yeah,
like
and it wouldn't
all
matter.
of the things where it's like, I can't get to this thing. It didn't have to be because like a tidal wave of ghosts kept you. Fucking make something up. Beam fell. Whatever the fuck. Like, what? Like, it was a little, when you tell me now, it's a little clever that something that didn't happen in the original is being kept by a. Fuck that. Like, whatever. It's not that clever. It's clever, but it's not. It's cute. It's more cute than clever. But, and then it just gets in the way.
Yeah.
And the final boss fights are just garbo. They don't even look cool. They just look like this garbage, literally piles of garbage.
Oh, you mean the Destiny God fights?
Yeah,
I hated those.
And girders and highways and piled up into a mass.
Yeah.
I'm like, what is happening? This is so off, like, style for the rest of this damn game.
Totally.
And then the Sephiroth happens, which I understand a lot of people are going to be like, he wasn't there. And I'm like, you know what? All right, I'm going to give him that one. Because this is Final Fantasy. It's got to be broadly appealing. What's one of the most broadly known things? Sephiroth
is, yeah.
You're going to have to... He was going to be the final boss of this game. I get it. Fine. Is it dumb?
I don't accept it. Yeah, I don't accept that.
It's dumb, but it's way... It's on another tier above or below, depending on what you want to say, of dumb to this ghost shit, which is just like just the worst.
Yeah. And the ghosts are not consistent either. So
No.
like I mentioned that it's only going to be it wasn't even obvious to me having played it Final Fantasy VII original, and I didn't know until I read stuff on it. I'm like, what? But um, even if I had noticed in the beginning, from the beginning, oh, these guys are protecting the original plot. That's cool. It's not even one. It doesn't make any sense to the people who haven't played it, and even if you have played it, they're not used consistently. So, for example, they're supposed to be the protectors of the destiny or whatever, but they keep coming in. Like, for one thing, if it's destiny, how is it being changed? And that isn't destiny is a question I have. Number one, but then
Don't worry, Destiny is very punchable.
yeah, I know you could just hit it with swords and it dies.
Yeah, just fight Destiny and you'll win.
You'll win.
It's
Yeah,
a boss.
humans can totally kill the god of destiny, no problem. But
Yeah.
and then also, what is their ability? Because the thing is, like sometimes are they supposed to make sure that nothing that's not supposed to happen doesn't happen, or are they supposed to go in and repair afterwards? Because sometimes that's what they do. Like, they make sure that
Yeah.
right. They make sure that Jesse doesn't go on the mission, so that Cloud
Sometimes
does.
they're late.
Right, but then Sephiroth kills Barrett and he dies,
Yeah,
and then they
that's
bring him back
right.
to life.
And not only that, here's the icing on the fucking cake. Not only are they not consistently like the way you might imagine an omnipotent, universally present force like the manifestation of destiny to just like appear instantly and omnipotently when something outside the course of events is supposed to occur. That doesn't happen, like you were saying.
Yeah,
It like you fight it and it kind of happens and then it does and then it takes a while and then it happens or it
yeah.
happens after the fact. It's like weirdly inconsistent, like you were saying. But then to top it all off, which really, really, really shows how bad this is, it that doesn't even actually happen all the time.
What do you
Biggs
mean?
is still alive.
Yeah, that doesn't. Well, no, 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 no. So that was because you killed them, right?
Uh, all right, yeah, I guess that happened because you killed him. But
Yeah,
there were
but
on
there was
top of
a
that,
Wedge never died when he was supposed to die, though, and I don't know what was going on with that.
Wedge never dies.
He falls and he
Also,
didn't die from the fall like he was supposed to.
all sorts of things happen in this game that do not happen in the original. Why they picked and chose certain
They
weird
picked the
little
big
things?
ones, right?
I even really like just like whatever they thought was gonna. I don't even understand. It's so bad. It's easily the worst single. Like you can narrow it all down to the single worst thing about this whole fucking game. Even beyond like they're stretching it out into whatever how many games for money. Yeah, they
Yeah,
are. But this is worse
yeah. This
because
is
now
worse.
all of these games are going to have this shit in it. You know they're not going to write this out.
Well, so that's the question I have. We killed all the destiny, right? So
I
now
guess. But what does that fucking mean? So what that basically means
the
is
next game is, and they didn't ever put chapter 1, so that means the next game is not going to be called Final Fantasy VII Remake, I guess. And then they're going to go way off story, is what I assumed was going to be the thing. Um, and they also added all this extra stuff. Like for some reason, Aerith knows all this stuff that she's not supposed to know. Like it kind of seems like she's already been through the story and went back in time. And then Sephiroth, it definitely looks like he's been through Final Fantasy VII and came back in time. And
yeah.
that's why actually that makes sense. I want to say, but I guess that's why the ghosts are here is because Sephiroth came back in time. I guess or something.
Guess.
But so it's
I
crazy.
don't know.
But the thing is, then like no murder guys are like, oh, but we're not gonna like drastically change the story. Then why did you need to have us kill Destiny?
Because they're trying to write themselves like an in canon check to fucking say, well, we're changing this because don't forget, guys, you blew up Destiny, so anything was possible.
I
And
guess
that's what
so.
it feels like to me. Like they're
Uh-huh.
getting right, they're like winding up to make more fundamental plot changes, probably because it's untenable to actually remake the game in the format they would have to because Midgar as an opening area you were restricted to it And that kind of does translate into a remake if you're just going to talk about Midgar. But after that point in the original game, you're going all over the place. You're going back and forth, you're backtracking.
Oh, right.
So what they're probably like winding up to do, and that's what this whole fucking plot device is they're going to more fundamentally change where you go, when, and for how long, and how big that place is,
And
and
they're
what it looks like.
yeah, and they're probably gonna make it so that you can't freely. Well, I guess what I'm saying is they're not gonna be like a world map. You're gonna maybe teleport or
I
something. But
wonder about that, like if they're gonna make the other games like in the vein of Final Fantasy 15, where there is a world map and you're traveling and the areas are just like really insubstantial, or you're just going to be locked into these places. I don't know. I don't fucking know. I really don't. I don't know. They painted themselves into this fucking corner. I'm not going to do the work of figuring it out for them. I don't know how you fucking figure this out. Their problem, not mine.
totally.
But I just really think this was unnecessary. They didn't have to either make this weird in lore excuse for why they're going to be changing things when they already fucking changed a lot. And there wasn't even a good enough mechanic to justify its own existence. It was really like clearly the least thought about element of the story that clearly was put in there last, or it was given attention to last. It didn't have to be there. If you
Totally didn't
almost
have to be.
cleanly take a scissor and just snip around all of it, you would have and put the rest of it together.
They could have just.
You would have a fine remake, I think, like a little pandery, a little too pop culture-y in terms of like shoving Sephiroth in this thing too early.
Yeah.
But
They could
I
have
think
just
it's
had
still okay.
freaking like Jessie get hurt. Like she freaking sprained her ankle when they went out to that lab on her mission, on her story mission, and that's why she can't go. Like that's all they needed to do. Right? Instead of having the ghosts make it so that she sprains her ankle. That's what they did, right? She sprained her ankle because the ghosts attacked them and she couldn't go on the mission, so Cloud had to go. That's all that happened.
That's true. Yeah, they intervened in the dumbest ways, and it's not even a cool looking plot device. They don't even look cool.
I think they look cool when they're all swarming around you and you hit the tactical menu and they go in slow motion.
That's it. Yeah, other than that, their design is the laziest looking fucking thing ever.
Yeah.
I just, ugh. I don't know.
And I took like a bunch of memos of when they appear. And, I'm not going to go into all the depth, but there's like some scenes where like, well, why are they here now? Like, I remember just at the very end, they swarmed the entire Shinra building. They're like, why is this happening? What's happening in the Shinra building that's not on the course of the Destiny? Like, I don't know.
I don't know. Surely don't know, but they're everywhere, and some people see them and some people don't. And no one really seems to care until like right at the end. Then everyone's like, "What about those ghosts?" And then it's like, "What about? They've been here the whole time." I just, but as far as the rest of the story, I think anyone playing this for the first time, it's hard for me to say because I can never get that non-experience back. I think anyone playing this for the first time without having played the original, even if you know the basic story, would be really lost.
Yeah,
because I don't know that they justify, like you were saying, Sephiroth, but other characters as well. I don't think they justify their significance enough to justify their screen time.
Like who else? Like Rufus and Tsang, maybe? Yeah, Tsang doesn't really.
Maybe. I mean, Tsang doesn't really come into play as much as I thought he would.
Yeah.
I guess it's really just Sephiroth. He's really too big a role. Like they really ham-fisted him in. Like if we're gonna talk about the next worst thing, it's probably his over-inclusion.
Totally.
In this game, it really is too much. They even did make a brief Kate Sith appearance.
I know, like what's that? Right? Who the hell is that cat thing? All of a sudden, everybody must be wondering.
Like real quick.
Who's never played it.
So it's all to say that this game was clearly, obviously, modeled on a nostalgia sort of thing, modeled from people who do have experience with the previous game,
Yeah,
or are very familiar with it one way or another, for them to go look and say, "Ooh, look, see that? Point and look," which is all well and good. There are plenty of games out there that have done the same thing, and I think they're valid. But
They didn't tell us that though. They're just like,
no,
it's the remake of the old Final Fantasy VII, and so
but it's not.
that's what they said. And then
Yeah.
other people were like, "Well, I never played that famous FF7 game that people were always talking about. Maybe I'll check out the remake." Those guys don't know what's going on.
Nah, they're going to be pretty lost. Yeah, I think as far as the rest of it goes, though, like I was going to say, like if you're in it for the nostalgia and the trip down memory lane for this portion of Final Fantasy VII, you're probably in for a good time, I think. Like, I think they hit some of those buttons pretty well. Seeing Seventh Heaven for the first time is pretty cool, I think. I think, like I was saying before, seeing Midgar with the plate above you or below you, really cool. Seeing the rest of Shinra inside the headquarters, some really cool scenes there. Just getting really good close-up looks of these characters and other things they've done. Pretty cool.
Yeah.
Cool times to be had.
I think so. I think we hit all the ports that I wanted to hit.
Yeah.
I'm glad I had you to tell me what a good story is. I thought the dialogue was great. It's terrible. I thought the animation of the movement of the characters was great. Yeah, it's terrible.
It's really budget, actually.
Yeah.
Oh man, but it's an interesting game. I'm probably more okay with it than not. Like, really, I can't say I'm let down by it because I'm not a big Final Fantasy VII guy. I know you aren't either.
Yeah, I'm not let down either.
And we also came into this fully aware of what this game is, so we weren't caught really blindsided by anything, I don't think.
Except for the ghosts. We were blindsided by the ghosts.
Yeah,
That's the only
their
thing.
showing up was pretty fucking weird. The minute they were swirling around Aerith in the opening scene, I was like, what the fuck's going on?
Yeah.
What is this now?
Okay.
Yeah,
I think we've said everything we have to say about Final Fantasy VII Remake today.
I think so.
Yeah, that was a fun episode. We got most of the points out. So I'm working on the ultra objective review of the game.
Gonna do one for the whole game, huh?
I've already played through it twice on normal, and I'm
Okay.
going through it on hard a little bit now. And I'm the state of emergency here in Japan is continuing. Probably going to continue until the end of the month. Although I do have to start going to work again on Monday.
Okay.
But so still, I have time. Like I can't go to the gym. It's too dangerous.
Yeah, same thing in the States over here.
Yeah, so gym time, I guess, is going to be game time now. And I don't know how deep I can get. I mean, I guess I solved a lot of doing that review of the battle system in the demo did indeed remove a lot of testing and things that I have to do. I'm mostly just like kind of stuck with like, how do I review the story and the characters and all that? I don't really know how. Like,
Yeah.
I don't know what I can say to, like, you found an objective thing to say about the Ghost is that it's just a cheap device that they can do whatever they want, and there's like no consequence or whatever. There's no way to say it couldn't have happened or whatever. So that makes sense. We found an objective thing to say about Sephiroth shouldn't be here because he doesn't make any sense. He's not developed or anything, and he's the final boss. And why is that? And I actually found that one too. But then, like, I totally didn't know. Like, I didn't think that, for example, they have bad dialogue, and maybe one of the reasons is they just aren't deep characters. Like, hadn't occurred to me at all. They're not deep. Oh, maybe they're not deep. I hadn't thought of that. So I don't know how far I can go into this story. I'll do what I can, but I won't say it if it's not objective in that one, for the most part anyway. So look forward to that in, I don't know, it's May now. Christmas present.
Oh boy,
Christmas
here you
present
go.
from Zoltan. Yeah,
Woo!
and So we'll see you guys in the next one. What do you think, Mel? I'm asking you suddenly live on the air. Do we want to do news things every week again or not? We haven't been doing that.
Yeah. A lot of stuff was kind of happening.
Kinda
We can
busy.
definitely go back to it. Like, I don't mind going back to it.
I think it's good to have.
I think we should.
Yeah, I think we should too.
If,
Okay.
if we're not gonna do, we could intersperse it with, like, I think the idea that we had. We put up another video. I don't know when it's gonna go up, of a comments video.
Yes. So.
So yeah, if you guys want to do like some comments, we're welcome in-depth comments. We have a couple of people who've been doing that pretty regularly. So if you want to, we will probably be reading them out on an episode and then sort of discussing your points. So
Yes. To the
you're
best of our
encouraged
ability.
to comment. Yeah.
You are indeed encouraged. We appreciate them very much.
Yeah.
So those videos are coming back, I guess. Then the news videos and
we definitely want to get back onto a more regular. We definitely had a bit of a lull there as we were trying to wrap this game up and all sorts of other things going on. It's a very weird time for all of us, I know.
Yep. Work changes and stuff happening too.
Yeah, some people are like not working as much. I'm working doubly so because of what I do. So it's crazy times, and this was a game also that's very different. So we wanted to like make sure this was done in a roughly timely manner. So that was another reason.
Yeah. But I think next up maybe I'll play something shorter.
We'll have to decide on that. I don't think we made a decision on that one, right?
Yeah. Next up is for me to play a game from Mel's list of games that
Gotcha. So did you make a choice?
I have not. I haven't even thought about it yet.
Gotcha. All right. So that's pending choice. Pending choice. Sometimes we announce it. Sometimes we don't.
Yeah, maybe in a month or so from now when we do the FF7 comments video, I'll choose by then and then announce it there. That's a good idea.
Sounds like a plan.
Yep, so thank you everyone for listening to Turn-Based Memories. We had a great time talking, and we hope you did as well. Thank you very much for being my co-host, Mel.
Oh, thank you as always.
Yep, and we'll see you guys next time. Good night.
Bye.